I want you to imagine this. You wake up, check your phone, and the first thing you see is a random meme coin you have never heard of. Already up 40x overnight. The chart is vertical, Twitter is screaming, "We called this yesterday," and every comment under that tweet feels like a slap in the face. "Thanks, bro. Just paid off my debts. This one trade changed my life." You scroll back through every signal group, every KOL you follow, and there is only one thought in your head. Why did nobody tell me early? Why am I always the exit liquidity? That exact feeling is the reason I decided to run a crazy experiment. For 30 days straight, I stopped chasing calls in private groups and started tracking the wallets of people who were making real money on-chain, KOLs, so-called smart money, and a few anonymous whales. No insider chat, no paid signals, just watching what they actually did with their own wallets and copying some of those moves with real money. In this video, I'm going to show you what happened in those 30 days, the trades that made money, the ones that hurt, and the uncomfortable truths I learned about copying smart money. If you have ever felt late, dumb, or used by this market, stay with me until the end, because this might be the most honest look at copy trading you have seen so far. Let me take you back to the moment this experiment really started. It was late at night, market was choppy, and my P&L looked like a heart rate monitor of someone having a panic attack. I had just closed a brutal loss on a highly hyped altcoin. On paper, it was the safest play. Big followers behind it, flashy threads, every influencer repeating the same narrative. I bought late, I sized too big, and when the music stopped, I was the one still standing without a chair. That night, I opened my trading journal and wrote a sentence that honestly hurt my ego. You are not losing to the market. You are losing to the people who bought before you. Over the next few days, I kept seeing screenshots from anonymous accounts, tiny wallets catching insane entries on fresh tokens before any YouTube video, before any TikTok, before any public call. While most retail was arguing in the comments, these wallets were quietly in, quietly out, leaving nothing but green lines on a block explorer. I started asking myself a different question. Instead of waiting for KOLs to tell me what they did yesterday, what if I could see what they were doing right now, directly from their wallets? So I picked a list of wallets. Some belonged to well-known names who proudly posted their addresses. Some were smart money labels that on-chain dashboards had tagged because of their consistent profit across many trades. A few were pure mystery. Addresses that kept appearing early in big winners, wallets that had survived the bear market and were suddenly active again as liquidity returned in 2025. On day one, I set a simple rule. I would not copy everything blindly. For each move, I had to answer 3 questions. How early are they? How much are they risking? And what is the worst case if I am completely wrong? The first week was messy. One wallet aped into a meme coin on Solana with size so large it made my hands sweat just looking at it. Another wallet was farming new launches in a way that felt like watching a chess player speedrun against children. Sometimes they won quickly. Sometimes they got dumped on just like everyone else. But there were patterns. I noticed that the same few wallets consistently appeared early in tokens that later trended on Twitter. Before the hashtags, before the YouTube thumbnails, their entries were already sitting quietly on-chain. No motivational speech, no GM fam post, just raw transactions. Buy, add liquidity, bridge, stake, exit. Meanwhile, I looked at my own past behavior. I realized how often I had bought simply because someone with a nice avatar said, "I like this project long-term." I had trusted words more than on-chain reality. During these first 10 days of tracking, I experienced something strange, a mix of excitement and shame. Excitement because for the first time I could see the flow of money in almost real time. Shame because I realized how blind I had been before that. I was like a trader trying to win a war with only screenshots, while other people had the live satellite feed. By the middle of the month, I had copied a handful of moves with small size. Some were quick scalps, some were swing trades. A few worked beautifully. I followed a wallet into a low-cap token that quietly forwarded before any major account mentioned it publicly. I also ate a painful 60% drawdown on a position where I trusted a wallet more than my own risk rules. The real turning point happened around day 20, during a boring, low-volume session. Most chat groups were dead, everyone complaining there were no plays. But on-chain, one of the wallets I tracked suddenly became active. It split size across 3 new tokens, each on different chains. No announcement, no explanation. For a few minutes I just stared at the screen, frozen between fear and curiosity. That was the moment I realized this experiment was not only about making or losing money. It was about confronting how I made decisions in the first place. Was I willing to think for myself while watching these wallets? Or would I simply become a slightly more sophisticated version of the same FOMO-driven trader I used to be? Those 30 days did give shocking results in numbers. But the deeper shock was this. Once you start watching what real smart money actually does, it becomes impossible to lie to yourself the same way again. Now let's slow down and dissect what was really happening beneath those 30 days. On the surface, it looks simple. Find profitable wallets, copy their trades, make money. But the more I tracked, the clearer it became that the real game was not just on-chain data. It was psychology sitting behind every click of the mouse. First, there was my own greed. Every time I saw a wallet nail a 5x on some illiquid token, a quiet voice in my head would whisper, "If you had just gone a little bigger, that could have changed everything." That voice never talked about risk. It didn't care about how many times I could be wrong before going broke. It only cared about the one screenshot I might post if things went perfectly. Then there was fear. Not healthy, rational caution, but a kind of fear that made me late. I would see a wallet buy start to move price, and instead of following my predefined rules, I would open Twitter search the token name scroll through noise, and by the time I finally decided the entry was already bad. I was still that same trader, but now with more data to overthink. Lack of structure was another enemy. Most retail traders operate like this. See a coin, feel an emotion, place a trade, pray. When you layer smart money tracking on top of that, it does not magically turn you into a disciplined operator. It just gives you better excuses. I'm not gambling, I'm following a pro. But if there is no position sizing model, no maximum risk per trade, no written exit plan, it is still gambling with prettier charts. The environment made everything worse. The timeline is full of screenshots of 100x wins, KOLs flexing insane entries, threads explaining in hindsight why something was so obvious. No one posts the quiet drag of a portfolio bleeding slowly because they chased 10 plays that never moved. When you combine that with constant noise from signal groups, you end up with a brain that cannot sit still. Every dopamine hit from a new alpha message kills your ability to wait for real setups. During the experiment, I also noticed how easily people outsource responsibility. I lost because that KOL rugged us. I lost because that group leader dumped on us. Sure, there are scammers, but the uncomfortable truth is that no wallet, no KOL, no group ever forced us to click buy. We chose the size. We ignored the risk. We kept playing even when it was clear we had no edge. Watching the wallets changed my perspective on who truly had an edge. The most consistent smart money did not trade all day. They did not chase everything. Their wallets had stretches of silence, days where nothing happened. When they finally moved, they moved with intention and with risk that made sense relative to their past behavior. Meanwhile, retail traders were hyperactive, jumping from coin to coin like someone switching TV channels in a panic. There is also a brutal information gap. Smart money wallets are not just randomly stumbling into good plays. Many of them have private deal flow, connections to teams, or a deep understanding of liquidity and market structure. When they buy early, they are not simply lucky. They often know exactly how much buy pressure is likely to arrive later from followers, marketing, or listings. Retail arrives at the scene thinking it is the beginning, when in reality, it is the distribution phase. The final root cause is something most people hate to admit: ego. We love to think of ourselves as smarter than average. So even when we copy someone else's trade, we tweak it. We size slightly bigger, we enter slightly later, we hold longer because this one feels different. In other words, we take someone else's edge, distort it with our personal bias, and then get surprised when the outcome is worse. By the end of my 30 days, I realized I had not just studied smart money. I had studied my own patterns of self-sabotage in high definition. The data was honest. The wallets did not lie. The person who lied the most was the one holding the mouse. If any of this sounds uncomfortably familiar, good. That discomfort is your advantage. Because until you see these patterns clearly, every new strategy, every new indicator, every new wallet tracker is just another way to repeat the same mistakes with more technology. Here is where I might say something you will not like. Most people who dream about copying smart money do not actually want to become better traders. They want a shortcut that allows them to stay exactly the same. Think about it. It is comforting to believe that the only reason you are not rich yet is because you didn't have access to the right wallets. It is less comfortable to consider that even if someone gave you a list of the best wallets on every chain, you would probably still find a way to mess it up. During those 30 days, I saw something that completely flipped my view. The same smart money wallets that printed crazy returns on a few plays also had stretches of boredom, small losses, and experimental trades that clearly did not work out. They were not gods. They were humans with an edge, operating inside a system with variance. But when retail looks at them, they turn them into superheroes. And when you believe your hero cannot be wrong, you will follow them in the worst possible moments. Here is a harsh truth. The problem is not that you are copying the wrong people. The problem is that you are trying to copy outcomes instead of copying process. Everyone wants the 20x chart. Very few people want to copy the boring parts. The waiting, the filtering, the journaling, the risk control, the patience to sit in cash when nothing is clear. Smart money is not defined only by what they buy. It is defined by what they are willing to ignore. Another uncomfortable angle. Sometimes you are not the victim of KOLs. Sometimes you are their liquidity strategy. If someone has a big audience and a public wallet, posting a winning trade does not just boost their ego, it also changes the market around them. When thousands of followers watch their every move, their entries and exits become self-fulfilling waves of liquidity. You are not joining the winning side. You might simply be joining the queue of people who will buy from them later. The more I watched, the more I realized that blindly following a wallet is just a higher tech version of following a signal group. Different interface, same psychology, you still give away responsibility. You still chase certainty in a game that is built on probabilities. When a trade goes wrong, you still look for someone to blame. So here is the upside-down idea that came out of this experiment. Maybe the real value of tracking smart money is not to copy them trade by trade, but to use their behavior as a mirror. Instead of asking, what are they buying so I can buy it too? A better question might be, what are they not doing that I keep doing every week? Are they avoiding certain timeframes? Are they ignoring noisy narratives you are addicted to? Do they size smaller in situations where you usually go all in? Do they cut losers faster? Do they stop trading completely during specific conditions that you keep forcing trades in? Once you see that, the story changes. Smart money is no longer a secret club you are locked out of. It becomes a reference point to audit yourself. And this leads to the most radical idea of all. Maybe the goal is not to be early to every 50x coin. Maybe the real goal is to become the kind of person who can survive long enough, mentally and financially, to be present when those rare opportunities show up. Because here is the twist that no viral thread will tell you. Smart money is not defined by their biggest win. It is defined by how small they keep their losses in between. If you are willing to accept that, then tracking KOL wallets stops being a fantasy about getting rich overnight and starts becoming a brutally honest training tool. But that only matters if you are ready to change how you approach the game in the first place. And if you are not ready for that, no dashboard, no tracker, no secret wallet list will save you from yourself. They will only accelerate the speed at which you repeat the same mistakes, just with more data and more leverage. Let's turn all of this into something you can actually use. If I had to compress everything I learned from those 30 days into a simple plan for anyone who wants to track smart money without destroying themselves, it would look like this. Step 1. Build your mirror, not your idle list. Instead of collecting random top wallets from comments, choose a small, curated set of wallets that match the style you want to learn. A few aggressive degen wallets, a few more conservative swing traders, maybe one or two long-term accumulators. You are not looking for heroes, you are building a panel of behavior to study. Step 2. Write your rules before you ever copy a single trade. Decide in cold blood how much of your capital can be allocated to this strategy. Maybe it is 10 to 20% of your portfolio, not 100%. Decide your maximum risk per position. Decide the conditions under which you are allowed to follow a wallet. Minimum liquidity, maximum slippage. How far price has moved from their entry, how much of their portfolio they committed. If those conditions are not met, you do nothing, no exceptions. Step 3. Separate observation from action. For the first week or two, track the wallets without putting real money on the line. Pretend you are copying them, write down where you would have entered and exited, and then check the result later. This is where you will discover something humbling. Quite often, the wallets make money, but your imagined entries would not. Slippage, delay, hesitation, greed, they all show up. Better to see that with play money than with rent money. Step 4. When you finally start copying, size like a scientist, not like a gambler. Your goal in the beginning is not to maximize profit. Your goal is to collect data about how this strategy behaves in your hands. Use small, boring size. Track everything. Which types of moves work best, which time windows are dangerous, which wallets fit your temperament, and which ones stress you out. Step 5. Filter opportunities using your own brain. Smart money entries are a signal, not a command. Before following, ask, does this make sense in the current market context? Is liquidity deep enough? How crowded is the narrative already? If you remove the name of the wallet from the screen, would this still look like a trade you are willing to take? Then there is the part most people skip, cleaning your environment. Unfollow some noise, leave a few groups, turn off notifications that trigger FOMO. You cannot calmly follow a structured plan if your phone is screaming 10 different alpha 2 calls every hour. Think of your attention as capital. If it is scattered, your money will be too. To make this practical, I started using a simple rule set during the experiment. No more than 3 copy-inspired positions open at once, no adding to a position just because the wallet added, and no treating any of these trades as the one. Each play was just another data point in a long series. That mindset alone cut a lot of emotional chaos. One extra habit that changed everything for me was keeping a brutally honest log. Not just price and size, but also my emotional state before and after each trade. Was I tired, angry, bored, chasing someone else's win, or calmly following my rules? After a few weeks, patterns started to jump off the page. I saw clearly which conditions led to my worst decisions, and which tiny rituals helped me stay rational. That journal became more valuable than any secret wallet list because it showed me exactly how to upgrade the only thing I can fully control in this game, myself. This framework will not turn you into a genius overnight, but it will do something more important. It will keep you in the game long enough to let skill, patience, and real edge actually compound. And in a market that punishes impatience more than ignorance, that alone is a massive advantage. Let's talk about the part that never shows up on profit screenshots. Behind every trade, there is a human being with a very real life. When you stare at charts long enough, it is easy to forget that. You start thinking in tickers, not in people. But during those 30 days of tracking wallets, I could not stop wondering, who is on the other side of these addresses? What are they feeling when they hit the button? Maybe you know this feeling. You take a loss that was bigger than it should have been. You close the chart, but you do not really leave. The trade follows you into the kitchen, into the shower, into the conversations you are pretending to listen to. You replay the moment you could have exited earlier. You imagine the alternative timeline where you reduced size, waited for confirmation, respected your own plan. In that timeline, you are calm. In this timeline, you are quietly carrying a rock in your chest. For many people, the market is not just a game, it is hope. Hope to pay off debt, to move parents to a better home, to stop counting every bill before the end of the month. When you lose, it feels like more than numbers. It feels like failure as a provider, failure as a son or daughter, failure as the version of yourself you promised you would become. Crypto is cruel because it amplifies everything. Gains arrive in ridiculous multiples. Losses do too. One good trade can make you feel invincible. One bad series can make you question your intelligence, your discipline, even your value as a person. No traditional job gives you that kind of emotional roller coaster on a Tuesday afternoon. Here is what watching smart money wallets taught me about life, not just trading. First, everyone is vulnerable. Even the best wallets took hits. Not small, cute red candles, but real drawdowns. They just handled them differently. They did not spiral into revenge trading. They did not rush to win it back today. They accepted the loss as part of the process, not a verdict on their worth. That alone is a huge difference. Second, money only magnifies who you already are. If you are impulsive, more capital will create bigger impulsive mistakes. If you are patient, more capital becomes a magnifier for patience. Tracking wallets made me see that the real battle is never coin versus coin. It is old self versus new self. Every trade is a vote for the person you are becoming. Third, you are not alone, even if it feels like it. Thousands of people secretly carry the same shame about losses, the same fear of telling family members that a sure thing did not work out. But we rarely talk about it honestly. We hide behind memes, behind sarcasm, behind pretending we don't care. Yet the silence only makes the pressure heavier. If you are watching this and you're in a hole right now, financial, emotional, or both, I want you to know something: you are not broken. You are not the first person to get punched by this market, and you will not be the last. What matters is not that you fell. What matters is what you decide to learn before you stand up again. For me, the biggest lesson was this: the market is a mirror. It reflects your habits, your fears, your discipline, your illusions. When you push money through that mirror, it does not just show you prices, it shows you who you are under pressure. And most of the time, that reflection is more important than the trade itself. If you use tools like smart money tracking without working on that inner layer, you are just giving your old habits a faster car. But if you combine honest self-reflection with these tools, then every drawdown, every miss, every almost, becomes part of a deeper transformation, not just another scar on your balance. And that, to me, is the real reward. Not just a bigger number on a screen, but a version of yourself who can handle bigger numbers without losing their soul. So after 30 days of tracking crypto KOL wallets and trying to copy smart money, what is the honest conclusion? The shocking results were not just in the numbers, even though they were interesting. Yes, there were trades that made solid returns. Yes, there were trades that hurt. Overall, the experiment ended green, but not in the fairy tale way most people imagine. There was no magical 100x that fixed everything. What really changed was the way I see risk, opportunity, and myself. I realized that the real edge is not access. The real edge is awareness. Access is cheap now. Anyone with an internet connection can open a wallet tracker, follow whales on chain, and see money move in real time. That used to be impossible for regular traders. But awareness, the ability to understand what you are seeing, to filter it, to respond with discipline instead of emotion, that is rare. And that is what the market quietly rewards over long periods of time. If you have watched until this point, you are already different from the average quick flip tourist. It means you care enough about your future self to sit with uncomfortable truths, not just chase the next shiny ticker. That alone is a very good sign. Here is what I want you to take away from this video. First, you do not need to abandon smart money tracking. It can be an incredible tool. But treat it as a lens, not a shortcut. Use it to study how consistent winners behave, how they wait, how they size, how they cut. Use it to compare your reality with theirs, not to blindly outsource your decisions. Second, start small and start honest. You do not need to bet your entire account to prove anything. Choose a tiny portion of your capital, build a simple rule set, and treat the next 30 days as your own experiment. Document everything. At the end, you will either have a strategy worth scaling or a priceless list of lessons that will save you from much bigger losses later. Third, remember that you have time. The market will still be here next month, next year, probably long after both of us are gone. You do not have to catch every move today. Your job is to build a version of yourself who can consistently survive, learn, and adapt. If you focus on that, the money has a funny way of catching up. If this video helped you see something more clearly, whether it is your own habits or the reality behind smart money, I would love to hear about it. Share your story, your mistakes, your realizations in the comments. Not as a confession to a priest, but as a message to the version of you who will watch this video again in 1 year and say, I am not that person anymore. And if you want to keep walking this journey with me, you already know what to do. Tap on the channel avatar, go to the channel description, and you will find the links to the exchanges I personally use. If you decide to open an account or move part of your trading there, use those links. It supports the channel in a real way, without costing you extra, and it keeps this content independent and brutally honest. When this video ends, take a minute. Sit with what you heard. Ask yourself what one small change you are willing to make in the way you trade or the way you study the market. Starting from today. Not 10 changes, just one. Because in the end, this game does not belong to the loudest voice or the flashiest screenshot. It belongs to the person who quietly learns, quietly adjusts, and quietly refuses to give up on becoming better. I have a feeling the next chapter of this journey is going to be even more uncomfortable and even more valuable. When that next video drops, you will know exactly what I mean.